Why silence feels so personal in relationships? Great question. Here to solve the mystery for you. So, silence is one of the fastest ways that the mind turns uncertainty into emotional pain, suffering, agony, turmoil. Silence is a great place to learn a lot about yourself, your thinking patterns, what your insecurities are, what your habits of thought are. Silence is where we are with ourselves and our thoughts. So, have you ever stared at your phone wondering, maybe your phone, maybe your computer, maybe whatever, some sort of device. Have you ever stared at your phone or a device and wondered why someone hasn't replied to you yet? And felt that tension in your body, that heat in your body. Why haven't they responded? What could possibly be going on? I wouldn't do that. I would have responded by now. And of course, if you have an iPhone, you can see that the last message has been read, and that sends you into a whole nother stratosphere of thinking. I think we all have. Have you ever walked into, say, your house or your apartment or wherever you're living and immediately thought something is off, something is wrong, something doesn't feel right? I think we all have. Ever notice how quickly your mind explains someone else's reactions, their mood, their energy, their silence, their vibe? Notice how quickly your mind jumps in and wants to explain it, create stories. Okay. So what's happening? What is that about? What's occurring in that moment? Okay. So it's not the relationship. It's not the other person's silence, moods, the way they move that makes you feel those feelings. You might want to argue with me, and please do. But it's not their actions and behaviors that makes you feel mad, angry, upset, disappointed, frustrated, resentment. I'm not talking about physical abuse, so please don't come at me about that. I'm not talking about someone physically stabbing you with a stick or their fist or anything like that. What I'm talking about is just like what I've named off: the silence, no response, ghosting, if you will. It's your mind that fills in the blanks. It's this gray matter up in between your ears that fills in the blank. Okay. Silence rarely stays silent for long, right? Just as I said earlier, when there's silence, it really exposes our insecurities, our thought patterns, our loops, our traumas, our events, or whatever you want to call it. The mind rushes in and explains it from past experiences, our own worries or concerns. The brain does not like silence. The brain doesn't like uncertainty. The brain doesn't like unfamiliar. The brain doesn't like uncertainty, unknown, quiet, darkness. The brain prefers to create an elaborate explanation over no explanation. It doesn't like a black hole. It wants to create a story and fill it in. It doesn't like not knowing. So any explanation is better than no explanation. So the explanation is going to occur immediately. Right after an explanation, any explanation, the body, the nervous system will activate. It'll feel real. The story will feel real, even though it's gray matter. It's our imagination. So the feeling will often arrive before there's proof or evidence or facts. Okay, so we're still in the silence, right? No response. We're being ghosted. It swiftly, automatically fills in the gaps. So that might be again, it might be a short delayed response from someone you care about, or somebody important, or a boss, or a manager, or a client, or a potential client. It could be someone you love, a child, a parent, a spouse, a partner. Okay, so maybe it's a response via text or fax or page. Just kidding. Maybe the silence could be an eye roll, right? You could get an eye roll. And maybe it isn't even towards you. Maybe it's just they're eye rolling about something else. Who knows? Whoa, sometimes, especially if it's a teenager, we can fill in the gaps really quick as a parent. Maybe sometimes we fill in the gaps when there's a shift in tone, or a different voice, or a different pace in speech. Sometimes we fill in the gaps when there's a different body language, maybe a hug or no hug, or a weird hug or awkward hug, or maybe someone seeming a little distant or distracted. A big one that I see a lot is people on their phones and not really listening, distracted. Or maybe it's a sigh or a yawn. Yawn's another one. It is possible that nothing could happen externally, but everything is happening internally, right? So the mind confuses the lack of or the absence of information with negative information. Saying that differently is the mind can sometimes add or inject information that's a stretch of the imagination over no information. So you get no reply or silence. The mind might fill in that gap with, oh, they're upset with me. I did something wrong. I must have said something. I upset them. Maybe if you're on a Friday night and things are quieter than normal or usual, the mind can kick in and say, oh, they're pulling away. They're falling out of love with me. That I'm boring. I must have done something wrong. If, say, you're with them and they seemingly are distracted, our mind can jump in and start thinking, oh, I must have forgot something. I must be boring to them. Or they must, what's another one? It must be boring, must be tired of me, must be falling in love with me, must be, I must have upset them, that what we were talking about last night, they must still be mad about. You might be looking at your calendar going, oh, did I miss a special day, a birthday, an anniversary or something? What did I miss? So you two are sharing the same moment. Two human beings are sharing the same moment, but there's two completely different realities occurring. And just so you know, all 8 billion people on the planet have different realities, different mindsets, different thought patterns and loops and stories and imaginations. So all 8 billion people on the planet are going to interpret a single moment differently. We create meaning inside of our heads. We have interpretations inside of our heads, assumptions, guesses. Our overactive imaginations, some more than others, gets really creative. All from silence, delay, a difference in energy. It activates an insecure mind. What feeds an insecure mind is acting or behaving from this thought feeling loop. So when you have a thought that, oh, they're mad at me, and you react to that thought. They're mad at me, right? Jump in their face and like, what are you mad about? What are you upset about? Why are you doing this to me? How dare you? That creates a stronger neural pathway or loop or thought pattern. Typically, you're now clashing, bucking heads. I'm not mad. Yes, you are. Look at the way you're behaving. That's kind of dramatic, but you get the point. We human beings don't often react from silence alone. Okay, reacting to what we believe the silence means in that circumstance or situation with that other human being. Okay, so you have the situation, you have the silence, the story starts forming up here through our active imagination. We feel the feeling in our nervous system all over our body. It floods us with cortisol, all kinds of hormones that can be very addictive, a slippery slope that can really make a situation feel really real. It can make the story light up because of our whole body is lighting up. And then when we respond or we react really quickly, especially, we're creating a pattern. This creates more tension, more friction, more distance in the relationship. The relationship will change naturally because of this loop, because of this pattern. It's not the silence. The silence didn't create the conflict. The story did. When we are all human beings are walking projections. We all project outwards the quality of our thinking. So we project outwards an insecure mind or a secure mind. So if our relationship to ourself and our life is based on the foundation of fear of rejection, we are going to project outwards constantly in every relationship fear of abandonment and rejection. We're going to behave in a clunky, weird, strange pattern and way, protecting us from being rejected, abandoned, left behind, feeling not good enough. We might overperform in relationships. We might over people please. We'll behave in a strange, clunky way, oftentimes paradoxically creating more distance and pushing them away because we're operating from a needy, clingy energy. When our inner world, our relationship to ourself and our life is fear of not being good enough, we're going to project that outwards. We're going to see it in our working relationships, our personal relationships, our intimate relationships that we're not enough. We're going to constantly operate from the foundation of proving that we are enough. Again, most likely overperforming at work and personal relationships, intimate relationships, all the relationships. Constantly operating from that wanting to prove that you're good enough. So old emotional wounds, if they're not processed or made aware of and understood and reframed in a way that's empowering, will project into every space that you're in. So whenever there's missing information or silence or gaps, that will come out. That's why a lot of people have a really hard time. Like, I love the show Alone. I love the show Alone. I hope they're coming out with another season soon. I've watched every single one. But basically, they take 10 people and throw them out in the middle of nowhere. Most of them have been in Canada. And they have, I think, 5 square miles separating each of them. So that way they are alone, because it's the name of the show. But they are stuck alone with their own thoughts. And it comes out on the screen. You can tell those people that are insecure versus secure. You can tell the people that are very grounded and have a healthy relationship to themselves and life versus the people that are very fear-based, angry-based, resentful-based, needy, needing validation, needing other people, needing external things or people to make them feel whole. It just comes out on the screen. I love it. It's my most favorite show, especially with the work that I do, because it comes out on the screen. I can tell what people usually in the first couple episodes. Well, that's hard to actually, it's usually 3 or 4 episodes, because a lot of times the person that lasts the entire show or wins, if you will, is not shown a lot in the first few episodes. It's kind of a bummer. But I've noticed that show after show after show, they show the people predominantly in the very beginning that get cut pretty early on, because there's not a lot of film of them. It makes sense, right? Unfortunately, it messes up my want and desire to guess who's going to win the show, because sometimes they don't show them until 3 or 4 episodes in. But anyways, my point is, I can tell very early on, well, that one's going to bounce, pull the plug in a matter of days, if not hours. I can pinpoint it, I can see it. So it's fascinating to me, because yes, in the silence, it comes out. Your state of mind, how healthy of a relationship you have with yourself in your life comes out. That's the way we humans are. So if you really want to understand yourself, I think I'm not a big advocate for meditation. I have a lot of clients that do it. I'm not a avid meditator. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything good, bad, or better or worse about it. It's just something I don't push on my clients. I don't push anything on my clients, to be honest with you, but it isn't something that I practice, but I do understand the concepts behind it. And a lot of that is really understanding and hearing your thoughts. For me, my practice is really, it's what's vital and most important is being able to live in the moment when life is happening, to be able to see and witness your thoughts more and more and more and more, being more consciously aware in life. And the reason is, and I have a lot of reasons, but one of my most favorite mentors got up to 3 hours of meditation a day in his journey, through his self-awareness journey, or whatever you want to call it, self-development journey. It was just very early on in his processing, and he got all the way up to 3 hours and was contemplating on going on a 1-month meditation retreat. This was on his list of things to do in the very near future. But he meditated one morning for three hours, like rolled out of bed, went directly into meditation. And as soon as the 3 hours was up, walked out in the living room with his wife and 2 daughters, teenagers, screaming and yelling, and the dogs barking, and the whole chaos happening. And he couldn't handle it. Life was out of control. He wanted to go back into the bedroom and just stay in meditation. So to me, along with other reasons, that was a really big aha moment in my studying and my awareness, is I want to practice handling life as it's happening live in the moment. And I want to help my clients, support them through real life stuff, to be able to navigate what's thought, what's story, what's real, what's fact, what's, navigating all of that in a way, and moving forward in a way that you're proud of. So, so yeah, if you're a meditator, great, love it. Share with me what about meditation you love. I don't poo-poo on it. It's just not something that I talk about a lot. All right, so same moment with another person, right? You're in the same situation, the same circumstance with another human being. You're going to have 2 completely different realities. You're going to have 2 completely different experiences. Okay? So someone that you're in maybe a long-term committed relationship comes home after a long day, right? They worked outside of the home. They had a long day, a long drive home. Maybe the commute was awful, terrible, construction, accidents, whatever. Maybe they even got pulled over. They had a horrible meeting, got some bad news at work. They come home, they're exhausted, they're in their head, they're still trying to just decompress from the day. They're busy thinking, processing. Maybe they're overstimulated. That's kind of a word that I used to use a lot. I'm overstimulated. I can't make one more decision. Overworked, burnout, tired, exhausted. They walk in and they're silent, right? They're quiet. What's on their mind, right? They're kind of a lot of times their brain is processing through their whole day. What matters, what's important, how I'm going to move forward, especially a day like that. It's like, especially if there's bad news, like, how am I going to deal with this? What's my next step? What's my next move? Hopefully, right? Um, but the person that's at home, eager and excited for them to come home, might sense that silence and their body language, their aura, their energy as rejection, right? If they're insecure, they might experience that as rejection, abandonment, maybe insecurities will come up, fear, right? Where have they been? Maybe, especially in this day and era when people have locations turned on and they're watching their spouse or their partner or their boyfriends or their girlfriends like a hawk. To me, I actually want to write a blog on that really soon. If it's on my docket of things to write, but to me, a location on your loved ones. I do have it on my daughters, and I love that because I check on it. If I'm thinking about calling them, I'm like, oh, are they at work? Are they at the gym? Where are they? And it just kind of gives me a filter to know, do I call them or not? That's it. But on a spouse or partnership, I think sometimes, or relationship, sometimes if it's used in a way that's creating a lot of negative feelings, then I'd say don't use it. And especially if it's activating your imagination in the negative sense, you've got some work to do. It's not the app, it's not the phone, it's not where your significant other is located. It's all in your imagination. But if you are insecure, you might sense their distance and their quietness and feel panic. You might feel loneliness. You might feel sadness. But that's two totally different realities happening in that same house, that same moment, two completely different realities. So if you're very insecure, you're going to experience that silence very differently than a secure person. So, and what's the difference? The gray matter. So emotional certainty is not the same thing as fact or truth. Okay, so emotional certainty is a relationship to whatever's happening outside of you. What stories are you creating in your emotional mind about the situation, circumstance, person, or thing? Strong feelings does not equal fact or truth. Because you have a strong feeling does not mean it's real or true. Because your body reacts does not mean it's a sign. It's not a signal. It doesn't mean something. I get that. I hear that a lot in my clients. It means they don't love me anymore. It means they hate me. It means that they're cheating on me. Okay. We're jumping to conclusions here. We're fortune telling. We're creating all kinds of distortions, cognitive distortions, if you really want to get technical. Your mind will notice things. Okay, it will notice things and it will tell you some sort of story. It'll say, see, I knew they were going to leave me. See, I knew they were going to reject me. I knew they were going to leave me. It was all too good to be true. My friends, my family, they were right. Whatever. The feeling oftentimes becomes evidence. And then you finger point, you complain, you blame, and it just spirals, right? Of course, the person is going to be defensive. You're making things up without fact. So strong thoughts create strong feelings, period. So if something feels really strongly to me, it's like that to me is a smoke alarm. Beep, 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 beep. Something inside of me needs addressed. A strong feeling does not mean something is wrong. Okay, so a fact could be they're quiet. That's it. Nothing else. No more words than that. They're quiet. It's an observation. 12 jurors would agree this person is quiet tonight. That's it. Not more quiet than yesterday, not more quiet than usual, not more quiet because I'm here, not no more to the story. Just quiet. They're just quiet. Okay. The story will be they're losing interest in me. I've done something wrong. They're cheating on me. They're going to leave me. A lot of me, 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 me. So the fact is that they're quiet. That's it. Nothing more to the story. No more words than that. Not, they don't love me anymore. The facts are very simple and require very few words. It's concrete. Everyone on the planet would agree this person is quiet. Stories are emotional. They activate our nervous system. They are built from our imagination. They are assumptions. They're speculations. They're wild guesses. Okay. They're insecure thoughts. One thing I hear a lot in coaching is, I need reassurance. Okay, that right there is a smoke alarm. That's something that you've got to work on. Stop depending on other people to reassure you. What that does is it creates a drug. It's an addiction. You can be very addicted to reassurance and validation. It is a slippery slope, and it will drive you insane and destroy your relationship. Because if you're waiting for someone to text you, respond to you, reassure you, validate you, and finally they do text you and say, I'm sorry, I was busy, or I'm sorry, my phone battery died, or I left my phone in the car or at home, or my phone's broken, right? You will definitely get instant relief. Oh, okay, I was wrong. I feel better. Okay. So you get that instant gratification, which all of us humans love. It's a hit of dopamine, a hit of relief, a hit of understanding, and oh, that makes sense. Okay, I'll let this one go. Everything is okay now. I'm safe. They're not leaving me. And then it happens again next week, next Friday, next Tuesday. Another delayed response, another spiral, and another need for that hit of oxytocin, another need to take you off of the ledge. Because reassurance is now you're connecting reassurance with calming you, reaffirming your relationship. That creates a pattern. It's a drug. It creates all kinds of attachment issues. Okay. So that's something for you to work on. So by the time, let's say you do see them face to face and you have the conversation, your nervous system has already lived through all kinds of tragedies, all kinds of stories, all kinds of activation, and you've used up a third of your battery charge for the day, right? Your energy is tanked. Now you don't even have enough energy to make dinner because you're so tired from all the emotional stories, traumas, and events that your mind was activating. So let's assume someone you care about, you love, and are in a relationship with, text you, we need to talk tonight. By the way, if you're reading this, watching this, don't do that. Especially to somebody that's working on themselves. We need to talk tonight, and then turn your phone off and go silent. Okay, something better to say is, I can't wait to see you tonight. I have so much I want to talk to you about. I have amazing news, and I can't wait to tell you. That's a whole different vibe on the other end. Now, I will say, those of you that are clients of mine are going to say, well, Catherine, we need to talk tonight, can't make you feel any sort of way. I agree. It can't, but healthy communication is not doing that. My husband has done that, not a text. He has said that to me on a phone call not too long ago. He's like, I have something to tell you tonight. Like, you're going to tell me right now. Because I want to know now, at least the headline, or at least what that means. And he's like, oh, good point. And then he told me, what it was about, and then we talked about it later. But it's funny how we have different perceptions. We mean well, by texting or saying that I have something I want to tell you tonight. But the receiving end of it, that may not land the way you think it will land. They won't think, oh, I'm excited to hear what it is. They might land as, what did I do? Anyways, do what you will with that information. All right. So if someone sends you a text or an email or whatever, communicates with you in some way through whatever platform, there's too many to name off here. And I'm a person that has very few because I don't want to have 1,000 to check every day. But let's say, what is the imagination going to think? I did something wrong. They're mad at me. I forgot to pack their lunch. I forgot to do their laundry. Whatever. I don't know. I think the mind would go pretty wild. Maybe they're having an affair. Maybe they lost their job. Maybe they're going to quit their job and create a business. Maybe there's some sort of financial disaster. Maybe their identity was stolen. Maybe the relationship is going to collapse, right? An insecure mind is going to go all over the place, right? And hours later, you might find out that they miss date night and they want to plan something with you. Okay. Big difference in two different realities there. I think that's a great example of that. So people are going to think, feel, and behave from their imagined reality instead of actual reality. Right? So if I got a text like that, we need to talk tonight, I might start double texting, triple texting, quadruple texting. I might start calling, right? If I'm very insecure, I will seek reassurance. I will seek, are we okay? Are they withdrawing? I might start calling people. I might go on social media and start going, what would you do if this happened to you? I might start testing my partner. I might start calling them at work in a aggressive way. Maybe I call someone they work with. I might become very defensive. I might check on my phone their location. I might become very hyper vigilant, start sweating, and when our imagination is activated, it just goes haywire. So the sooner you can notice you start to think or feel, oftentimes we feel before we realize what we're thinking. When you start to feel a certain way, start to feel off, start to feel like something is washing over you, it's at the beginning to go, whoa, look at my mind go. Look at my imagination go. Look at what my thoughts are feeding me. They're feeding me very strong thoughts that are creating a strong feeling in my body. Let's just name it, observe it, and let this settle and ground myself in how I want to feel in this moment. Right. So how I want to feel in this moment is calm, excited to hear what the topic is tonight, excited to see them tonight, excited to greet them, be open-minded to what it is that they're going to do with their job, their life, or finances, whatever it is, right? Be calm. Be steady. That might be what it is. Anyways, the silence reveals more about you than them or the relationship or the situation. That's it. The silence reveals everything that's going on up here. It will tell you what goes on in your natural interpretations of silence, your projections, your predictions, your fears, your worries, your anxieties, your insecurities, old thinking patterns. Silence will reveal what needs worked on. Silence simply exposes what's already in there. It doesn't come outside in, it comes inside out. So emotional maturity or emotional intelligence begins with one sentence. At the beginning of being activated, at the beginning of feeling fear. The one sentence is, my mind is filling in missing information. My mind is activated. Look at my mind go. Look at how creative my mind is being. And pause. Notice and witness and observe the thought patterns that are going. And sometimes it feels like this. I get it. I get it. Witness and observe your mind being activated. Become curious. Wow. Look at my mind go. It's serving me, protecting me. It's working really hard. What facts do I have? What stories is my imagination, my mind telling me? Could there be a million other explanations? How do I want to feel for the next 3, 4, or 5 hours until I hear from them? When we create curiosity, it opens up space in the lived experience that we're in. So instead of being washed away with the imagination and fearful thoughts that they're upset with me, it's over, everything's going to come to an end, you become curious. Perhaps they are finally wanting to move to that town that we've always wanted to move to. Maybe they're finally ready to upgrade the home or downgrade the home, or maybe they got a really good deal on a car. It could be a trillion different things. We don't know. The possibilities are endless of what they want to talk to us about tonight. Stay curious. I think 7-year-old curiosity is such a beautiful thing. And if you know a 7-year-old, someone in the age range of 5 to 10 maybe is probably a good range. Watch them. Watch how curious they are, how fearless they are. They teach you so much. Not every quiet moment means danger. I know your mind thinks that. Your mind, especially if you're the type of person that is very stimulated, meaning you cannot sit in the grocery line or at a doctor's appointment or even a red light and sit still and just be with your own thoughts. You have to start scrolling or listening to something. I think that there is a big downside to constant stimulation. I think that we lose ourselves in that constant noise, and it makes our mind really busy and really sped up. So I do think that is the benefit of meditation is no stimulation. Again, I'm not downing on meditation. If it's something you love, please talk about it, comment on it, what it does for you. But constant stimulation. I love my sound canceling headphones. I wear them quite often and nothing's on them. Like I have a pair that aren't even charged, but I just love the way they fit. But I'll wear them outside doing yard work or in the house. Every time I'm doing dishes, I'm wearing sound canceling headphones. I don't like the sound. And most of the time there's nothing playing. I go to the gym with them on sometimes and nothing playing. I just want that muffled. I get my best thoughts from there. But not every quiet moment or silence or pause or is dangerous. I know our mind thinks that because we have such a busy world now. So a quiet moment could mean a time to rest, to recharge, reboot. For someone else, it might be they're processing stress from the day. Maybe they're processing grief. I know there was a situation, it was about a year ago, where my husband was off that day. And actually, it was 3 days he'd been off. And I really kind of was like letting him have a space and just kind of letting it be and letting it settle. But on day 3, I was like, hey, I just want to check in with you. it seems something's different the last few days. There's something on your mind. And he said, yeah, my dad's birthday was 3 days ago. And I just really am remembering him. So that was his reason. And actually, after that, he popped back up. I think he recognized that he kind of was getting lost in that grief. But we spent some time and shared laughter and memories. And so I think that's very healing too. So check in with those people you care about. But some people are quiet and distracted from sorrow or grief or disappointment, or maybe self-reflecting, or maybe there's something else that they'd be open to sharing with you if there's enough trust that they can share it with you and it won't be used against them. Some people are just at capacity, right? Their bandwidth is used up by stress at work and bills and all the things. Sometimes silence is just silence. They just want to be silent, and that's okay. I think the more comfortable you are in being in the presence of another human being and being in the silence, I think that's very healthy. I think that tells you a lot of emotional intelligence and emotional maturity, is being able to be in the silence without having to fill space with words and noise. So the quiet moment isn't the problem. It's rarely the problem. It's the meaning that we add to the situation. That's oftentimes the problem. So the relationship is not going away or being destroyed. What's occurring is our imagination is creating an interpretation, right? So our brains are meaning-making machines. And we humans love to get in our own way. We love to sabotage our relationships and situations. But that doesn't mean you're broken. What I point you towards is patterns. Notice your patterns. Notice how human you are. None of us can escape this. We all have patterns. That's all we are, is patterns. So what is your pattern? Pick one and work on one at a time, okay? The mind wants certainty, safety, more than facts or proof or accuracy. Okay, so the brain wants certainty, wants to know that its human is safe. But the brain doesn't care if you're in love, you're sexy, you're happy, you weigh the right weight, if you have $1 million or 1 million followers, it doesn't care. It just wants safety and certainty. It loves patterns because it knows that, well, I've done this before and my humans stayed safe. I've kept my human alive. But when certainty disappears, the mind invents stories. It fills in the gaps with all kinds of fearful stories that quite honestly should be submitted to Disney or whatever, MGM or movies. Because there's a lot of amazing plots out there that I hear from my clients, all this imagination creating all kinds of amazing stories. But when a story feels true, which means if you think it, you believe it, it will activate your nervous system. So it feels true because your nervous system is lit up. You feel it in your body. You feel it in your bones. You feel it everywhere. It's got to be true, right, Catherine? No. When we think and believe something and we believe it's true, we no longer question it. We're closed-minded. Our mind shuts down and we shoot off and we behave in weird ways. We react to the story in our mind. We get tangled up in this illusion that we're stuck in this simulation that we create in our mind. That is a thought pattern. That's it. And it gets reinforced by the behavior. When we act upon an irrational thought, it creates a pattern. That's what keeps us repeating it over and over again. So the space between the stimulus or the moment, whatever that is, and the meaning that we create in the mind is where your emotional freedom begins. That's where you become more emotionally intelligent. As long as you see that pause and you expand it, contract that pause. So even I have clients that'll quite literally, if they get triggered by a family member or a coworker or a friend or whatever, they will literally excuse themselves, go to the bathroom, go get a drink of water, go to the kitchen, I mean, it depends on where you are, excuse themselves to make the pause really big so they can stay calm, stay grounded, regulate themselves. But the more practice that you have, you'll be able to do it quicker, faster. You'll be able to do it even when somebody's yelling at you. But it takes practice. So it starts off as maybe a long pause, right? With some practice, walking away. Let me gather my thoughts. I need a moment. I need to use the restroom. I need to go get a drink of water. Create the pause until you get really good at it. That's where self-leadership lies, is when you're the calm one. You're the steady one. You're the life raft. You're the lighthouse. You're the anchor. You are the compass, whatever anchor or metaphor you want to use. We don't build healthy relationships by controlling other people and telling them how to talk and think and behave. We improve our relationships by taking the lead, by being the calm one. We strengthen relationships and trust and bonds by understanding who you are being in a relationship, what you want to create in that relationship. That all has to do with you. So stay in your own business, stay in your own lane. When you're going outside of your business and you're outside of your lane is when you want them to think and talk and behave like you would. You don't have control over that. Stay in your own lane. You only have enough energy to regulate yourself and make healthy decisions for yourself. Sure, you want to share a life with that other person, but let them do what they do. You lead by example, model and inspire them calm, peaceful energy, or whatever words you want to use, whatever lands for you. Understand moment to moment, how do I want to feel, right? So if we allow anger and rage and resentment to drive our emotional bus, I guarantee you're going to run into the wall and crash. But if you want to respond to or create a relationship or create an energy by how you want to feel, like I want to feel grounded, I want to feel calm, I want to feel strong, I want to feel self-confident, I want to feel reliant, I want to feel kind, warm, loving, compassionate, right? When you can articulate it, you can actually imagine it in your imagination. Oh, okay, well, when I'm warm and I'm kind and I'm compassionate, these are the words that I would say. This is how I would behave. Do that. That's what would drive the bus. And then you'd be driving at 30 miles an hour and not crashing it. Okay. Respond to situations and circumstances and people around you from how you will be proud of yourself before, during, and after the event. Respond to things in a way that you go, wow, the future version of me tonight, when I lay my head on the pillow, will be proud of how I reacted to this. Because I remained calm, I remained curious, I remained understanding. I listened to them. I'm caring, I'm warm, I'm gentle. We don't need the people in our life to be less silent. We need to be less automatic in believing the thoughts that first come out of this gray matter. The earlier you notice your story making machine creating stories, the earlier you can get behind the wheel from calm, compassionate, warm, understanding, whatever words land for you. That's where your power is. That's where you'll be really proud of how you respond to life days and weeks and months later. Awareness, conscious awareness in the moment interrupts the patterns, the loops, the spirals, the triggers. So my questions for you, and I'm going to end this video, is how much of your relationship is happening in reality and how much of it is happening inside of this story making machine? What meaning are you automatically, non-consciously, or consciously, which means intentionally attaching to silence or situations. And consider this. What if silence isn't the problem? What if it's the story? So the quicker, the faster you recognize that you're reacting to a story instead of fact, you get to reclaim your ability to choose your response. You get to choose how you operate. You get to choose your behaviors. You get to choose how you are being. Okay. All right. I'm going to end right there because otherwise I'll go over an hour. All right, guys. See you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed this. Comment below. Reach out to me if you have questions or an example. I love examples. So reach out to me.